This is Albin bringing in the 757 House Whisperer show. We have myself and a couple others showing up a little bit late today, but traffic is really heavy out there. But I would like to introduce Chuck Worley, the founder of the show. He's with Worley Home Services. They do HVAC, plumbing, electrical, crawl space, encapsulation, insulation, spray foam, and geothermal wells. He covers quite a gamut of what you need done in your house, and he is fantastic at it. He's built a team that services the 757 and beyond, and he does a fantastic job reaching out to people and helping them in so many ways. Thank you, Chuck. My name is Albin. I'm with Albin Co. We specialize in remodels. We do kitchens, baths. We do decks. We'll do new home construction, additions. Getting a lot of calls as the weather's coming in for, nice weather coming in, and people are thinking about their decks around their pools and maybe upgrading their kitchens and things like that. So give me a call if you need something like that. And I would also like to introduce Jack Keller. He's not going to be here tonight, but he is our resident painter. He's with Legacy Painting, and they specialize in interior, exterior painting. They'll do, I was just talking to him on the way here, asking him if he was going to be listening to the show. Hey, Jack. And he was mentioning he had a soft wash schedule on a project that I'll be on also. So, yeah, you're out there, you're thinking, hey, I need a paint job, but the house is dirty. He takes care of that too. He'll soft wash the house and then come in right behind with his paint crew, take care of any painting needs you have inside or out. You got any dents or dings in your drywall, he'll take care of that. And so, yeah, look, Cindy just pulled up and she is here. Hey, Cindy, glad you made it through all that crazy traffic out there.
Did you drive through that?
Yeah, I was on the JRB for 20 minutes.
Me too.
Or longer.
Flying by the seat of our pants, aren't we?
Yeah. So we made it in. Cindy, why don't you tell us about your company?
I'd love to tell you about my company. I am Cindy Rao, owner operator of Alpha Pest Solutions, full service termite and moisture company. Just celebrated our 15th year in business, so we're
congratulations.
Proud thank you. We're proud of that. So if it creeps or crawls, we take care of that. But we also do inspections when people are buying and selling their homes. And I have a horror story about that we'll get to a little later. But
I don't see any cake here. So did the critters eat it all?
No. No.
Well, you celebrating 15 years.
I know. I needed to bring cake. All right, I'll get you some cake. I know where you live.
But no, Cindy does a great job taking care of inspections under the house, and just a fantastic resource for those out there that are concerned about their houses and what might be going on underneath that. Just because it's out of sight doesn't mean it should be out of mind. You guys need to be thinking about that. It's probably the one place that is
neglected the most.
Yeah, people just think, well, I don't see it, so it must be fine.
Yep, it's not.
And
I promise you,
not the case.
Not.
I go underneath there all the time, and I'm just like, oh, these are dark, dirty, nasty places to be, but they're a necessity in this market. There's not a lot of people that. It's funny because a lot of people want, when they're building a house, they have to decide, do they want a slab? Well, a slab is great, but then you can't gain access to the plumbing in the slab. And then people are like, well, what about crawl space? Well, crawl space is nice, but it gives this nasty environment. I mean, it can be handled properly, and that's where Chuck comes in with the crawl space and encapsulation. So
gotta keep somebody looking at it.
Yeah. So we got one more person to introduce. He's going to be a little bit late, but let me go ahead and get him introduced. And by the way, if you're listening in, give us a call. The lines are open. It's 627-7979. That's 757-627-7979. Tell us what you've got going on with your house. I want to tell you the reason for the show is because it's a public service to you. We want to help you where you may have some issues under your house, in the walls, under the sink, in the laundry room,
anywhere.
in the attic, wherever it might be. You got these funny cracks showing up and you're not sure why, or your floors are buckling, or your carpet is kind of looking weird and you're not sure what to do with it. Who knows what it might be? But remember, if you call in, you're probably not the only one with the problem. And you calling in is just bringing up somebody, maybe got a spouse talking to each other, say, hey, we really need to take care of that, but they don't know how to do it. You call in, it's going to trigger them to think, hey, I need to listen in. And maybe in our conversation, we will get you a solution, or we'll get you in touch with the right people that can help you with the solution in whatever situation you might have going on. So give us a call. If you call in, you're going to get a free coffee card to your favorite place. And we're going to have a couple trivia questions here in just a second. But let me introduce Michael Davenport. He's with CVP Windows and Doors. He specializes in vinyl windows, double pane, all the bells and whistles with the low E, argon. I guess they can do a couple others. I'm not really into all the I guess the verbal stuff with that as far as what actually all the different things mean. I think they could probably do where they do sliders. I know that sliding doors, they'll do casements, they'll do fixed glass. They have the grills between the glass. They could do arches. They got all kinds of stuff that you might want to get done for whether it's a brick house or a siding house or things like that. And they also do doors, also exterior doors, and they do a fantastic job with that. And I've been using them since 1999. So, and I think they actually opened their doors in 98. So
they do custom stuff too. So if you've got a special size or something,
everything is custom with them. You tell them what size and they're going to make it.
Newport News.
Yeah. So they keep the glass manufacturers quite busy. They got they got them on speed dial. So.
Yeah.
But okay, so one of the questions I have pertains to, and this is a question I'm asking you guys to call in and see if you can provide me an answer with this, something to help us with maybe testing your abilities here. So this one is, when you are framing, there are multiple sizes that you can space your framing at that works with 8-foot plywood, and this particular size is an odd size. I'm not going to say it. I want you to call in and tell me what it is, but it works out to the same increments that breaks at the beginning and the end of an 8-foot sheet. So see if you can call in and tell me what that distance is. Again, it's a framing spacing that can be used in some applications and is used. I run across it in some applications. Not going to tell you where I find it, but we can maybe get into it a little bit later if nobody calls in with an answer on that. But that's what I got right there. So call in, you get a free gift card with that. That's coffee. Again, that number is 757-627-7979. If you don't want to be on the air, you can also call us at 955-9415. That's 757-955-9415, or you can text to that number also. In fact, you can text anytime to that one. Look us up online. Go to the 757housewhisperer.com, or you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, those type places. So, Cindy, we were talking about slabs and crawl spaces, the benefits of a crawl. What's the benefits of a slab? From your perspective in your industry, tell me a little bit about the pros and cons of the two from a critter getter's perspective. Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about slabs first. Slabs, of course, you're not going to get fungus. Generally speaking, you're not getting fungus in that house. Mm-hmm. You will still, and in many ways, just as often or just as much, get termites or powder proceeds, something that's going to eat the house as much as a crawl space.
Not more.
It could be. Depending upon the age of it and actually who built it. Mm-hmm. Okay, more stable slab. How
is that? I mean, tell me a little bit about cracks, how they would get in there.
All they need is a crack.
One crack.
You've got a crack, and so the termites
It'd be
around
more
here.
stealthy too, wouldn't it? Because
Right.
you can't crawl underneath the slab
No,
and
I
look for those.
can't. Well, I
can you?
could, but I'd have to use a shovel and it might take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But a crack is all they need. And subterranean termites that we have here live in the ground.
Oop.
So you got that crack going on. That's an opening for them. That's just like you ring the dinner bell. So yeah, you can still get termites. And in fact, it's harder to see termite damage in a slab home than it is in a house that has crawl space.
Go undetected for a long.
Yes.
Hold that thought, because this is the first time that I think I've ever seen somebody answer the trivia question this fast.
Oh,
We have somebody's calling in with the trivia question. His name is Jim, and he's in Chesapeake. Hey, Jim, how are you tonight?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
Good, man. Are you a framer?
I am not.
Okay,
Just smart, right?
So I think you understand the question. What's the size you got that you think I'm speaking of?
16 inches.
That is definitely a size that we use. We use it a whole lot more frequent than the actual answer I'm looking for. So definitely, you still a winner, because you're going to get a coffee card,
chicken dinner.
but that was not the answer. But I would like to know, where did you use 16 on center at? You do any DIY stuff yourself?
Yeah. I grew up in the Northwest doing a lot of residential remodels and stuff with my uncle. 16 inches or 2 foot, 24 inches on center.
Okay. All right. And so what do you do now?
I do scaffolding, actually.
Okay. Well, that's cool. What kind of, you got any cool project that you've done recently?
Yeah, we're a larger scaffold provider for the Navy, so we're doing a lot of work in the shipyards.
Yeah, that's got to be some good sites there. Well, that's awesome, man. So you got any home remodel projects you got going on? And
not really. My work keeps me busy, but I have used your guys' services for my business before, and you guys knock it out of the park. So,
Excellent.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, and stay on the air. Maybe we got another caller coming in that might have the answer to that question. But I think you'll once you hear the answer, if you've done any framing, you're going to know what it is. But I'm not going to give it out quite yet. Maybe a little bit later on the show if nobody gets it right. But thanks for calling in, Jim. You have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, we got Matt in Chesapeake. He wants to answer the trivia question, and I believe he's got some other question there also. So go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say 24-inch on center.
Well, we use that size quite frequently. Most of the time we use the 24 on center in the roof for spacing of trusses. It definitely breaks at the 8-foot plywood mark, but there is another size there that is used less frequently that I'm looking for. But yeah, so stay on there. You might actually hear that answer. Did you have another question? It looks to me as I'm reading the text on the screen here that you might have a question about glass.
Yeah, you were talking about a glass installer just a few minutes ago. I didn't quite catch the name of it. I actually got a pane just got broke by a golf ball from my neighbor's child. So I wanted to get that name.
Yeah. Well, you said it was your child?
I'm neighbors.
Okay.
No, it's my neighbor's.
And that's terrible. But
Yes,
but he may or may not be able to help you. He could definitely point you in the right direction. It's Michael Davenport with CVP custom vinyl or custom windows and doors. But if you leave your information and just the fact that you called in, you're going to get a coffee card. I know that doesn't help you fix a window, but
Yeah, Michael call you though.
You can think about things.
Right.
Drinking that cup of coffee and say, how did that happen anyways? But
Plot
anyways,
against your neighbor's child.
yeah. So, but yeah, well, I'll get Mike. In fact, Mike will probably be in here in a little bit. I mean, he got tied up with something, but in any case, we'll have him reach out to you and get you connected with him, and maybe he can help you be the hero in the situation and get that window fixed. So,
that'd be great.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned on that answer. It's coming. I got a lot of calls coming in with people trying to figure out what this thing is. But Matt, thanks for calling, man. You have a good night.
Okay, thank you very much. Y'all have a good evening.
You too. Susan in Pocosin has potentially the answer to my elusive question.
That's because she's female.
So, yeah. Well, knock it out of the park for us, Susan. What you got?
I thought it was always 18 inches from one stud to another. But I could be wrong.
So
but that's what I always had heard.
I like your answer, but it's not actually the answer I'm looking for. And I don't think if you add up 18, I don't believe it falls at 96. I think it falls a little bit before after.
Oh,
that.
I didn't hear that part of it.
Yeah. So we're looking for, just so you know, we're looking for a spacing that will break on 8-foot plywood. So, which is 96 inches. And I don't know where 18 falls, but somebody out there with a calculator can do that. So,
or somebody who's good with math.
So you're in Pocosin. You got any issues with water down there? Or you got anything you want to bring up that maybe we can help you with? You got maybe a house question? Are you a DIYer?
No, but my house issues are so many I couldn't go over them on the phone.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So I'm sure we can help you out in some way in some of those areas. So maybe you can pick one of them.
How about water coming in my front door?
No.
I just had leaf filter put in, the leaf filter system to help the water from coming in. Yeah. At my front door. So that's nothing I can do.
Well, we could definitely send somebody out there if it's a problem with your door. I know some people will kind of patch that up with maybe a nice storm door over the front door to kind of, keep that driving rain from getting in there. But it sounds to me like you might have a compound problem. One is, even if your leaf gutter is not the issue, you shouldn't be getting water in the door anyways, because even if it wasn't a leaf guard issue, driving rain sounds like it would get in there also. So we just need to maybe get somebody out there, look and see what's going on. Maybe you need a new seal on the bottom of the door. Or how long ago did you get the leaf guards put in?
Last Friday.
Okay. Well, and you're saying the water issue has started since last Friday then?
Oh, no, it's been going on a long time.
Oh, okay. So I thought maybe you were tying the leaf guard or leaf gutter system was
that may help it.
Part of the problem. So you're thinking that maybe that's going to fix it?
I'm hoping that it will help. Now, the problem already exists with my floor and hallway and the door, but I'm taking one step at a time, which is the water that comes over the gutters right in my doorway, and it's impacted my hallway because it hasn't been taken care of.
Okay. Well, I think you're moving in the right direction. If I was gonna, if you were calling me, I would, and you had called in before you got gutters on the house or before you had the guards, I would say, yeah, we gotta continue to work on a better defense system to keep that water from intruding that way. So sounds to me like you're moving in the right direction. In combating that water that always seems to be the compounding issues. It even becomes an issue with even rodents and stuff like that. Because I know Cindy would talk about that. But Susan, thanks for calling in. We have your information. We will reach out to you and talk to you further about maybe how we can help you with figuring out
where to go next,
or at least stay in touch. We can find out whether or not that took care of it and whether or not we can help you in another way. But thanks again for trying on that.
And for listening.
So anyways, I think we have to go to a break. So we're going to go to a break for a second. Anybody call in 627-7979. Again, that's 757-627-7979. And we will be waiting here to answer your questions. With the 757 House Whisperer Show, we are here to answer your questions. The lines are open. The number is 757-627-7979. That's 757-627-7979. The trivia question for tonight is one about framing. You want to call in and try your luck at this? We've had several people, and they're probably all waiting to hear the right answer, and maybe somebody out there's got it. When you're framing, there are certain situations that allow for this size. It's a size that would break at 8 foot on center, not used that often, and I'll be giving that answer out here shortly if I don't have a caller come in or call in and ask for that or give the answer out. But in the meantime, let me reintroduce Chuck Worley with Worley Home Services. He is the founder and CEO of the 757 House Whisperer. And he also is, I think we need to go to break one more time. So hold on one second. I'm not sure what we're doing here.
Yeah, sorry, guys. We got about a minute.
Okay. So we got 1 minute. Let me go through the introductions and we'll come back. So my name is Albin with Albin Co. Again, we do home remodels. We'll do kitchens, baths, decks, additions, new home construction, anything you can think of on the DIY projects that you gave up on, we can maybe come in and help you out with. So again, Chuck Worley with Worley Home Services. And then we have Michael Davenport with CVP Windows and Doors. I'm going to just burn through these. Cindy Raw with Alpha Pest Solutions and Jack Keller with Legacy Paint. Albin Co. I am bringing in the 757 House Whisperer Show. We have been having a great time talking about spacings with framing, and we've also talked about slabs and crawl spaces. We wanted to talk about that a little bit more, but we got a lot of callers coming in, which is a great thing. So we've already gone through the introductions, and we're going to jump on to these callers that have been waiting so long. We have, I think, first caller on the that's up is Donna in Chesapeake. She has an answer for us on the trivia question. Hey, Donna.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
We're doing fantastic. So you broke out the calculator, or do you already know the answer?
It's not the calculator. My husband built our house with 2x6s on a 12-inch center instead of your typical.
That was my guess.
We were just, everybody's sitting in the studio here saying, what's the answer? What's the answer? What's the answer? And I said, the next caller in is going to tell us 12 inches on center.
Yep.
So that is definitely a spacing that is used quite heavily in certain circumstances, but it's not the answer we're looking for. So, Donna, you got any DIY projects going on right now?
Not at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, and you said your husband's a builder, huh? Did you guys build your house?
We built our house. He's not a builder, but we did build our house.
Okay. All right.
Well, he must have known enough about it to do it then.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
And you got any things that you wish you have done differently?
Yeah, probably, because it was the first house we built, but I'm here and I'm happy with it.
Well, that's Fantastic.
And
You got
that's the
any?
key right
what
there.
kind of age you
attitude.
got on it?
25 years.
Okay, well, you're probably coming around to some needing a few things done to it. Probably AC work, and I'm not sure if some of your windows have turned. Whether the gas in the windows have
what
gone
year
or
was
whatever.
Say 25 years ago, so you were around 2000 or so? Is that what you said?
98. To be honest, to be exact, it was 98.
98. Okay. Well, you're just about your windows. Low E windows really didn't come into play until around 2000. They were a code requirement in 2011. So you may not have low E windows, and the low E window gives you a lot of energy efficiency. It cuts down on light coming through. It cuts down on sound, but more importantly, it cuts down and gives you a U value, which keeps out the ultraviolet rays and what have you. Saves you energy in the meantime. So if you ever want to get a free consultation, call us at CVP Windows and Doors, and we'll be glad to come by your house. We'll take some pictures, get some quick measurements, and one of my associates will come back and give you a full detail about what we can do. The one thing I want to let you know is that we're not coming for an encampment. It's not going to be Valley Forge or anything. Yeah, we're going to come just do a presentation. It'll take about 30 minutes. If you have a lot of questions, it may take a little bit longer. But I promise you, you're not going to have to call the law to get the man out of the house. You're not going to have to fix the couch for him to sleep overnight or cook an extra dozen eggs because he's a hungry guy. So all those promises you can take to the bank.
Well, we're here for you. We're definitely here for you, Donna. If you got any questions, please feel free to call in anytime. You do get a free gift card for calling in, at least for your efforts. And 12 inches on center is definitely a size that works. It's just not the answer I'm looking for. So, but you hang in there. Maybe you'll hear the answer, and you'll learn a little bit about framing. So we got another caller coming in. Thanks again for calling in, Donna. The next in line is Kenny in Suffolk, and he's got a possible answer to the trivia question. Let's see what you got, Kenny.
32 inches.
No, that's not the answer I'm looking for.
Sure.
It's got to break. So 32 inches probably would work, but it's not one that I've used, and it's not the answer I'm looking for. So, again, the question is, what framing spacing do people use? It's not the most common, but it is used in certain circumstances that breaks at 8-foot centers. So, we're just kind of trying to figure out if somebody can find that one. I have not used 32. I'm not aware of 32 being used, but anyways, so thanks, Kenny, for trying. Do you have any questions that you may want answered regarding your home, something that's going on that's been plaguing you or anything like that?
No, but it's 33 inches, isn't it?
You're trying hard, but it's not 33. So if
Guess again.
So 33 times 3 is 99. I'm just giving you a little hints there. I'm just doing some math. You could probably do some math and come up with the answer pretty fast. But I'm gonna jump over to Tom in Chesapeake. Thanks for calling in, Kenny. He is gonna give a stab at this answer, and he also has a question about a new roof.
Hello, I'd like to try the trivia question.
Yes, sir. Give it a go.
19 inches.
Man, you're so close.
19.2 exactly.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding. That's it. It's actually, most people aren't going to say when they're framing 19.2, but it's 19 and 3/16. So when you're looking at your tape, everybody that's been like plagued with not answering this one quite right, if you look at your tape measure, they have special markings at every one of these framing spacings, and one of them is a triangle. It's a little triangle, and that little triangle falls on your tape every 19 and 3/16. Now, you can't really use that in every application, but you can definitely use it mostly for floors. Michael, do you know of another circumstance where people use 19
Not really,
3/16?
because if you're gonna do studs, you do 12, 16, and 24.
Yeah.
And 24 can only be used when you're doing a stack bond.
Yeah.
And that's not real common
24
anymore.
is mostly going to be in your roofs, and then you're going to use
You can use it
in the
sidewalls,
walls and use 12.
The roof,
So
always the truss.
yeah,
And what have
most
you
of the time when we're framing, we're going to frame the walls at 16. We're going to frame the roofs at 24, and we're going to frame the floor at 16. So we look at inline framing. We want to stack that framing and try to make it all line up. When you get to the roof, it's a little bit of a special circumstance there. Where you can be off center from your studs. But Tom, good job.
Yes.
We're gonna get you we'll get you a coffee for that. And you had a question about a new roof.
Yeah, I was wondering, on a new roof, is it more beneficial to do the new ridge vents or just go with the older single vent spaced out?
Okay, so every time we do a roof, we always will put that ridge vent in depending on the style of roof you have. If you got a lot of hips in the roof where the ridge line is very short, it becomes problematic. We can look at other methods, but if you've got a long ridge, I would suggest a ridge vent. Make sure that your roofer cuts back the plywood back far enough to where you get the proper ventilation there. And then you're going to have to take a hard look at your soffit line to make sure you have ample spacing there at your soffit line. Sometimes people have solid, sometimes they have perforated vinyl soffit there. If you don't have enough at the bottom, then it's kind of a mute point to have so much at the ridge. You want to have a complementary amount at the top and the bottom. The roof will heat up. It's going to cause convection. The hot air underneath that roof line is going to move up and push out that ridge line, and it's going to naturally draw the nice cooler air. Well, it's not always cooler air, but it's definitely going to be cooler than the hot air that's below the roof. I mean, because some of that stuff can be super hot. Yeah. But that's the method I suggest. You don't have to have a power vent. You don't have one spot that's being over vented and other spots that aren't. So I don't remember the math, but I think it's for every foot you want 1 square foot per every foot. So I think it works out to be 1 inch at the soffit and 1 inch at the ridge. But I always check those numbers to make sure I get that right.
It's always better to do.
So so you're gonna have somebody, if you got it. Let me ask you, do you have vinyl soffit already?
Yeah, it's perforated vinyl soffit.
Okay, so perforated vinyl soffit, they usually want to have 100% vented down there because the perforation doesn't quite add up to it. The holes are pretty small there. So if it's 100% perforated, you might be hitting the number you want for ventilation at the soffit, and then again cut the ridge back, and definitely that's the direction I would go.
Okay, sounds like a good idea. I appreciate the information.
Yes, sir. You have a good one, Tom.
Yeah, thanks for
calling in.
Yep,
and we have Alan in Buckrow Beach. He's got a question about cost of putting metal siding stuff, something to do with a beach house. Tell us what you got there, and we'll see if we can't answer a question for you.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. My parents own a handful of property here close to the beach in Buckrow Beach, and I'm involved in it. But one of the bigger houses, in the back, it has a 2-story, what I want to call beach houses, because they're not big, a little small. And I heard back in the day, people would have relatives stay to go to the beach, and they're straight up. But to make a long story short, I might be saying this wrong, everybody, but it looks like stucco, I guess. But the problem here is, through the last couple of years, it's got this green stuff around it, and it seems to keep growing every year. And I got some advice from a neighbor, and he said, be careful, water blasting it, because it might start peeling off in chunks. And then I was talking to another friend of mine, and he said, Alan, that's a nice looking little beach house in that backyard. upstairs, downstairs, and you might want to consider vinyl siding. And I don't know much about either one of those two things, and I was just curious what you think about that. And I'll take your comments off the air.
Yes, sir. So, if I understood it correctly, probably has a drive-it system on the house, and it's going to be plywood with a stow system on there or comparable product, and there is a good chance that moisture is getting behind there. You should get a moisture check on that. That should be done on a regular basis. There is a high chance that you're getting moisture in the system that is growing mold, and that's why you got all that green stuff. And it's a high maintenance product if you're not going to keep an eye on it. So you're going to possibly blast some of that stuff off if you're not careful. You definitely don't want to paint over that. You want to have an expert look at that and help you maybe get that back to where it needs to be.
Well, one of the things you got to remember too, that when these products were used many years ago and they've been refined in current times, the biggest problem, especially when they were going on in the 80s and early 90s, was that the product, when applied, had to be professionally caulked at the seam lines along between intersections of like around windows and doors, etc. And the painters, a lot of times back then, they'd hear the builder would tell the guy, well, this guy, the professional caulk guy, was charging me this much. That's ridiculous. And the painter would say, hey, let me paint your house and I'll caulk it for you. Well, the caulk he used was not that professional caulk. It ended up with little teeny cracks in the joint line. And that little teeny crack allowed a little teeny bit of moisture every time it rained or what have you down in behind that. Like Alvin said, when that stuff got back in there, it could end up causing structural damage to your house like any other leak behind any other siding. Only it was worse than most sidings because it trapped the moisture indefinitely behind it.
Well, along that same line, I'm working on a house right now that has a drive-it system on it, and there was a leak that went undetected in the wall since the day the house was built. So I think the house is 25 years old. And they had the drive-it system on the outside, insulation, 2x4 wall with plastic on the inside. That helped make sure that leak went undetected for years. So I'm really sorry for the owners that have to, cough up the price of having to get the repairs done, but extensive damage to the house, and we're working at putting it back together for her. And we're going to put it back better than it was. And then also, you definitely want to have somebody look at it. That's all I got to say. So look, we've got an answer to our question. It was 19316. So if you weren't listening, we still have maybe a second for you to call in. We got about 7 minutes. So 757-627-7979. That's 757-627-7979. Cindy, I think you had a couple things written down there. Did you want anything that you think would be interesting for the guys, maybe people to hear?
Couple questions
guys
from I'm sorry?
Guys and girls.
Guys and girls, because girls are important too.
Yeah.
Right. But Julie had a couple of questions, landscaping questions.
Okay.
So and Julie is Chuck's lovely bride. Yeah. So we have to make sure she's happy. So she's asking about putting mulch in flower beds, and does it attract pests, or are rocks better? So, you can put whatever you want to in a flower bed. Mulch can and does come with termites and other critters in it, varmints, roaches, wood roaches. Well, wood roaches, American roaches, or people feel better when they call them water bugs, but it's still in the roach family. So it's ordinary, normal for it to be in there because it's just shredded up wood. So, termites are going to love it. Roaches are going to love it. So that's normal. If you use that, then I suggest you keep it away from the foundation of the home. Move it away. I would like to say a foot, but you guys aren't going to do that because I don't even do that. But 6 inches or so, keep it away from the foundation of the home so it's not right up on it. Rocks, You can put rocks in there. For me, I don't like rocks because it's hard for the root system for the plants don't work as well in rocks as they do in mulch material. So if you're into growing things, and I use mulch, but I keep it away from the foundation.
All right. Well,
the plants as well too, because if the plants are up against the house, that helps, critters get in there as well.
Biggest thing with mulch is I see from my perspective is it's mulch this year. It's mulch next year. It's mulch the year after that. And the year after that. How much does that build up over 30 years? Could you, a lot. So many times that people come back to me 25, 30 years later and say they got some issues. I'm like, well,
if you didn't have
get you an
mulch.
excavator in there and pull that mulch back and start from ground zero again.
Oh, but people want to put it down like twice a year. They want to put it down in the springtime and the fall, and it's not needed. So that's another thing that you can. But also, if you get in there and if you're really into growing things, mix that stuff up. The soil, take a little rake or something and mix it in there, and that helps it to biodegrade like it ought to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just keep piling it on top, it's just the same thing with the rocks.
Yeah.
All the rocks do is go lower and lower and lower. Pretty soon you have 5 feet of rocks.
Yeah. Because rocks will soak right into the ground.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the other things we were talking about, and going back to the beginning of the show, Cindy and I were talking about the pros and cons of slabs versus the crawl space, the benefits there. And I know, Michael, you're on here as a window guy, but maybe you can hit it as a builder too, because I know you got a lot of skill in that area. What is the pros and cons of a slab versus which one do you prefer when you're actually doing your thing?
I think it depends a lot on the area.
Yeah.
Because when I first made my first trip to Las Vegas, I was out there and I saw these houses that were $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $10 million I've seen in Miami that were on a slab. And I'm like, man, somebody's lost their mind.
Yeah.
But it's totally acceptable there.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I always worried about, and during my career, the corporate company I built with and what I built myself, I built over 4,000 houses in 53 years. And I used to worry about a water line busting under a slab. Well, normally water lines bust because there's a joint there that wasn't properly done.
Or there was a joint at all.
Yeah.
You don't want to have joints underneath the slab.
Yeah, well, you don't.
Avoid it.
And that's why I say there's a joint there.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have a plumber that's trying to shortchange things and he doesn't do things that are silly like that, and you got proper pressure tests before things come up out of the slab.
It's all in the prep work, isn't it?
It is.
If you do it right, you don't cut corners. Slab is going to be a great option. Even when it comes to the termite and stuff, there's probably some preventative measures there, just like you want to get there just before, you go in the crawl space, Cindy, you're going to, before even the house is on the foundation, you want to do some termite
how
treatment,
it's treated.
So
but
before the slab is poured, you're going to want to come in and do your thing, right?
Yep.
So do you have to make any holes in the slabs or anything like that when you're on the slab? If you start to see any kind of issues.
If you get termites, if they're active, then we have to drill the foundation. We have to drill the slab.
So you drill.
So we got about 3 minutes,
on the
guys.
inside or
outside.
That's what I thought. You're drilling the foundation, not the slab.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really and truly, it's what the customer is looking at. And I know when
some people don't even want
Chuck's
you to.
house,
Some people don't want you to drill
mini
it.
splits. And I was at a condo this past week, and a nice condo in a very nice area, and they had 3 mini splits in there. So 2 bedrooms, each had one, then the common living area, and it was nice because I like my bedroom not freezing cold. My son and his wife like their bedroom cold. And so we didn't all suffer because they wanted it cold.
Yeah.
And so I like that idea.
Everybody gets their own little climate.
Those are becoming very common.
Yeah.
Very common.
Yeah.
I see them a lot.
And there where we were, I never saw a conventional, what we'll call conventional outdoor unit servicing the whole first floor.
Yeah.
It was all mini splits.
Well, I think the biggest thing people have to get by is and basically just say, okay, I'm over it. I'm okay with the big wall wart on the inside of the building.
Yep.
And that's probably the biggest challenge for mini splits is people are like, I don't want to see that thing on my wall. So Once you get past that and you're not looking at it anymore, it's not a problem anymore. And you get some really nice, like, micro ecosystems where it's like, hey, I can have my own environment and all that stuff. So let's go back over. So again, this is the 757 House Whisperer Show. We're here to help you guys out. We're going to be wrapping this show up right now. If you need to call in, you're like, darn, I missed the window of opportunity here. You can give us a call. You can call us at 955-9415. That's the hotline. It's always open. You just call 757-955-9415, or you can text that number. If you just don't want to talk to a person, you'd rather just text. I know a lot of people like to do that now. But going back through, at your disposal, you have Chuck Worley with Worley Home Services. He knocks it out of the park in the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, crawl space, and insulation, spray foam, that kind of stuff. We have Jack Keller with Legacy Painting. He is doing a phenomenal job in the paint industry, commercial and residential. We can get him in touch with you if you have a paint need. And then myself, Albin Co., we specialize in remodels. Cindy, go ahead and hit it with you. And then
Alpha Pest Solutions. We are a full service termite and moisture company. We serve all the way up to Richmond, down to the Carolina border, out to Petersburg. Went to Port Haywood this week. It was actually on a road called Potato
We have
Neck
about 20
Road.
seconds.
That's a while.
So, Michael,
Michael Davenport, CVP Windows and Doors. My partner and I, Barry Taylor, started this business 24 years ago. We're coming up on a 25-year anniversary this year. Been serving everything from Richmond now up through the northern neck, Fort Haywood.
Very good.
Elizabeth City and Virginia Beach.
So this is the 757 House Whisperer Show. Thank you for listening in. We look forward to joining you guys next week.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
The preceding program is sponsored and paid for by Worley Home Services, who's entirely responsible for its content.